Hello, Factorio people. Welcome back to Factorio Overexplained, episode 10. This episode is brought to you by the imaginary number 3i minus 7 and the imaginary letter Jog. I've expanded the mall, the hub, the HQ a touch. I made whatever rails I could make with the amount of stone that was in those burners up here, if you remember. And I also added lights and some electric mining drills because I would like to get stone automated slightly more than it is. And let me quickly make some repair packs as well. You don't really need repair packs without the biters. Except for when you drive into things. So if anything just has a health bar like this, it means it's taken damage. You can see over here, health 449 out of 450. And it's just taken a token amount of damage because I hit something with my car, as everyone always does. And you can just take the repair packs and left click over the things and it repairs them. When you get robots will do that for you. Oh, let's kick some research off, shall we? Let's do concrete because having concrete is useful. Oh no, let's do solar power actually. Solar power is a bit more useful. We need to get stone sorted, mostly because we need stone bricks, because stone bricks are an important component of oil processing, indirectly. Because you need stone bricks to make oil refineries, and oh, you don't need oil. You don't need stone bricks to make chemical plants. I don't know why you thought you did, but you don't. I probably should start making chemical plants in the hub, but we'll fix that. The other thing I wanted to show you, I could have done this off camera, but the reason I wanted to do this is because now we've got real power poles, medium electric poles, which you can see here, like this, have this distance compared to the crappy regular power poles, which only have this distance and that radius of electronic supply. We can build the only mining setup you will ever need. At least until your mining productivity is so high that it's actually more efficient for you to mine directly into boxes, but that is, well, that's way down the line, that is. And I'm just tidying these up because I can, and I want to. Just like keeping on top of it. Can't actually see the lights on there. Yes, you can. They're there, they're yellow, they're just very hard to see sometimes. Right, the only mining setup you ever need now goes like this. You don't need to worry about leaving spaces for the power poles in between like you did here, because the medium electric poles are wide enough, they have a wide enough area. You can see this blue square, which is the supply, is exactly as high as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 supply area, 7 by 7. That is exactly as high as 2 miners and a row for belts in the middle. So if you place them in such a way that if you place the first one here just after the drop zone of the first set, and then put an underground to reach to the next set of miners, and then you can do that, the maximum width for the next set and so on. You've got space for a light as well. And in fact, you won't even need to put the underground there like that, because, as we know with belt dragging, the game is smart enough to know, oh, they want an underground there. There you go. Now obviously this is a bit of a waste, but undergrounds are so cheap. Really, realistically, 17 belts. I mean, they're not that cheap, but yellow belts are cheap. And then we can do our fabulous copy and paste routine here to bung this down. The game is smart enough to know the blue ones are, I mean, this is a good example here. We've got a red one, it just can't be placed. You've got a problem here, and it highlights what the problem is, and that's that cliff. And the blue one, it can't be placed because there's actually no resources there. And what you do in that scenario is you hold shift, and then shift, when you're placing a blueprint, lets the game know to just ignore anything that can't be done. If you try and place it anyway, it goes, no, you can't do that, cliff's in the way. Whereas if you hold shift, you're acknowledging, you're just overriding it. You're saying, alright, I don't care about that. Does it even need one there? What would it even get? Where is the stone there? It's a good question. The cliff is, I think the cliff is overriding the fact that, I mean, these are really terrible. This one's 648, like, and this one's 51. But we can do this. Why did that not work? I think I was stood in the way. Hey, solar energy finished. Thank you. Let's do explosives, shall we? And then we can do cliff explosives, and then we can get rid of these cliffs. And then cliffs are no longer a problem. So how's it going, everybody? We're 10 episodes in. That's pretty magical, isn't it? 10 episodes in, don't even have blue science done. Blue science was always a massive bottleneck for me. When I played, I must have had about 7 or 8 files before I got blue science sorted, because oil processing is such a hassle. Oops. Thank you. Oil processing is very complicated. And then not only is it, I think I've said this before, but not only is it very complicated, but it also then quite soon afterwards makes it even more complicated, because then you have to do advanced oil processing to get other things that you want. Right, power me up. Hooray! So you can see here everything's going along nicely. Wow, that was quick. I only needed 100 that took 15 seconds each. What's next? Batteries, why not? No, we'll do rail signals. In fact, don't need. We will need flammables eventually for the rocket fuel. Let's just do them, shall we? Let's just flip in, click them all. Oh, you need military for cliff explosives, so we'll do that. Poor cliff. Okay, that's stone on demand. How has this affected our electricity supply? Not a lot. Good lord, that was quick. Stone, raw stone, is needed to make rails. We don't. Thankfully, you only need 1 piece of stone, and that makes 2 rails. And rails are quite big. I'm not going to go into exactly what I'm doing with the rails yet. That's not really. It's too early for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this extremely ugly. Please? That doesn't work. I'm going to make this extremely ugly because I'm also going to take some stone and turn it into bricks, which I'll get to in a minute, but I'm also going to just hold some stone. I'm just going to tell it to just stock some in treasure chests, because I don't know why I keep calling them treasure chests, by the way, it's just a thing. Right, so let's make sure. I also realised that I have left enough space here for, and a whole other belt for 2 lanes of copper, and I really don't think I'm going to need 2 lanes of copper before we migrate to the big base, but whatever, we've sorted it now. It's there, just in case. As we always say, space is never a problem, so. Stone smelting is exactly the same as regular smelting, except the recipe calls for 2 stone to make a single brick. It still takes 3.2 seconds, but it takes 2 stone compared to our iron plates and copper plates, which take 1 ore and take 3.2 seconds. So that means it's going to empty the belt twice as fast, which means we can only have half as many furnaces. Moreover, we don't need that many bricks really anyway. Like, a whole belt of bricks is probably a bit much. But they are very useful. We do have the stone. So you know what? Screw it. Let's just flippin' go for it, shall we? Actually, we'll need the stone, thinking about it. May as well just go for it. Because stone bricks are a rather unique item in another way, as not only are they an ingredient, they have another use. So let's just get some for now, so I can show you that, and then we'll expand this. Is it worth upgrading these to medium electric poles now? One there and one there covers the whole set of inserters, even though it looks a bit ugly. Oh, the outside does as well, of course it does. The outside covers it as well. And in fact, this covers the whole lot. God, Matt, god damn, medium electric poles are so good. That hasn't worked because... Oh, that's a weird bug, isn't it? That was a weird bug. Did you see that? This ghost power pole is mimicking a real power pole with this electric wire, but so has overridden the connection between this pole and this pole. If I get rid of it, it connects up, and then if I put a ghost one down, it's fine. How strange. Is that a bug? Is that intended? I can imagine it's extremely complicated to debug the whole ghost wires thing. Anyway, I won't need this regardless, because we're going to be on medium power poles forever and ever and ever now. Stone bricks, aka bricks, are neat because you can actually just put them down and you get something you can walk on. The research is coming thick and fast here as we do the backlog of very early game research that I ignored because it was military based. You can put it down. Now these are very good for delimiting space, which is a fancy way of saying making space. Also, you have to use the deconstruction planner to get rid of them. That's not true. To get rid of them, if you don't have any stone in your inventory, to get rid of them you actually need to have a ghost stone planner here, right? So what I've done here is on my toolbar I've picked stone, and I've pressed that, but because I don't have any it's giving me the ghost planner, and then that is in fact, I can place ghosty ones, but that is in fact now the only way I can pick these back up. Thankfully they go back into your inventory, just as stone bricks, and then we can get rid of these as normal. When you hover over it to build it, you can see that it gives you a walking speed bonus of 130%. So you can see here, this is me walking, but this is me walking on stone! Walking on stone! And then we did concrete as well, didn't we? No, not quite. We thought about it and then we didn't. Concrete, walking speed 140%. Good lord, you're going to notice that 10%. Refined concrete, 150%. My god, you're going to be walking so fast. I want a lot of stone bricks because stone bricks are the important aspect of the... They're not... I mean, I say they're important. They're important for me. And the other people who like using the city block style of base expansion, which, to be honest, I found out about city blocks and I've never looked back. And I'm not going to go into too much detail right now, but I will mention it because it would be rude of me to not explain it now that I've at least talked about it. In the map, we're going to use the stone bricks to build blocks like this. So this will be stone brick, and then we'll have another one next to it which is stone brick, and we'll have another one next to that, with the spaces delimited by the stone bricks which we never build on, and then all of our builds being in here. So like we'll have some smelting for iron here, and we'll have some smelting for copper here, and we'll have the bus this way, and then green circuits here, so the iron and the copper comes up here like this to make green circuits, which then join the bus like this. And that gives us space, it gives us structure, and it gives us a nice, neat way of moving our power around, and it gives us lots of space for trains. What other colours do I have? P for pink. Trains to come in and out like this. So trains dropping stuff off here and on this side when we do that. It's a very structured way of doing things, and as such, it is my favourite way of doing things. How many bloody of furnaces did I build? 24, that's exactly half, isn't it? Yeah, 48 for a yellow belt. That's good, right? So then now we're going to just stockpile these so that we can pick them up as and when they are needed. They stack to 100, is that correct? I believe that is correct. I believe it's 100. I turned the debug thing off, didn't I, for... Yes, they do stack to 100. I've pressed F4 here to bring up the debug settings. I've ticked the Show Debug Info in Tooltips option, which means that I see various things like this, one of which is item stack size. Don't know why that's not in the vanilla game. There we go. So these stack to 100. Each chest is got a storage of 48. 48 times 100 is 4,800. 6 chests times 6. Oh god, that's another 48 for 24 to 28,000 iron stone bricks. That can't be right. And it is. It is. That should be more than enough stone bricks. And then also, I wanted a stockpile of stone as well. Just, do I need to worry about that, or am I just going to pick it up off the belt? No, I will stockpile it. I will stockpile it. So I want to make sure I'm making stone bricks first. Yeah, I'm not going to overcomplicate this. I'm just going to say, give me some filter inserters. I have no electronic circuits on hand. This is a good opportunity for me to drink some water. Stay hydrated, folks. Stay hydrated. Give me some filter inserters. 6. Just for the sake of symmetry. Stone. Whitelist the stone. Shift right click to copy the settings. Shift left click to paste the settings. There we go. Stone on hand. Should we ever need it. Which we will in vast quantities to make bricks and landfill and all kinds of stuff. Let's also... See, these all have already run out. Let's tidy this up slightly by saying, please prioritize the top line of stone first. So I've done input priority on the splitter to always let this go through first. So this will empty it from the top down. The same on this. Oh, let's do this as well. Shift right click to copy settings. Shift left click to paste settings. works with the splitters as well, as in filter inserters and assemblers and everything. You've already run out. So this, in theory, will empty this row first, and then this row next, and then this row last. So we'll just work from the top down. It makes absolutely no difference, but you know, it's nice. Pleases my brain. I did briefly mention the circuit network. What you can also do with a circuit network here in this scenario is you can hook a whole bunch of chests together, like this. So I'm taking the red wires that I've got here that I built for another example, connect everything together like this. So I've connected all of my stone chests together and then used the power poles also. And then that gives us a grand total, 2.7 thousand stone. So rather than having to just look at each one, I can just hover over one of these medium electric poles, which conglomerates, not the correct usage of that term, but the counts that the red signal has picked up together, and gives us 2.9 thousand stone. How much stone is in a city block? It's a good question, and it's not really relevant to count, because the first one, whoops, don't ignore that menu, I'll get to that in good time. The first, like, city block, obviously you need the whole thing. The second city block, you won't actually need to count this row, because you've already put it down. And the same with the one that goes this side. And then even more so, like, once you've got this one and this one down, you have to even count even less. But I suppose if you did want to say 4,000, let's do the circuit. Let's do some more circuit network talk, because it is interesting at least. Let's put some lights here like this, yeah? And then connect with the red wire, because the red wire contains our signal for stone. Let's connect the red wire also to these lights. And then we'll say, let's say 4,000, shall we? Let's say it takes 4,000 stone to make a city block, which I don't think is true, but let's say 4,000 anyway. If the stone signal is greater or equal to 4,000, then turn the lights on. Yeah? Does that sound alright to you? And then if we build a constant combinator as well, we can use the constant combinator, which constantly sends a particular signal, which is the way you want to remember that. So with some more red wire, just so that the whole thing goes on the right thing, constantly send a green signal. And then tell this to use the colours that is also being... So this is getting a signal of 3,700 and a green signal. As soon as this hits 4,000, this will turn on with the green signal, and we've said use colours here. This is massively over-engineered, but basically, at a glance, I can see when we've got more than 4,000 stone. And I've used far too many red wires here. Let me get rid of this one by holding... No, that was wrong. I pressed shift. I can just click it again, can't I, to... In fact, this doesn't need to be connected to this at all, does it? Now. I'm just clicking through. I mean, I'm losing the wire every time I do it, but it's very cheap to make. No, don't want that one. And I don't want that one, but I do want it connected there. And then the same with this. Get rid of that connection, but make that connection. And I need to make sure that both of these have the same condition. There we go. So, there's 4,000 stone in all of this, and each one of these has... I mean, the downside to this is that I've not given it a... There's nothing I can hover over to actually read the signal, because for some reason that only works on like a power pole or something. So, oh, it's connected to network 12, so I can actually see that circuit network there by doing this, just hovering over this connected to network, and the signals it's receiving are 4.5 thousand stone and 1 green signal. So that we could change this colour to be anything we wanted, and you'll see as we change it that it changes the colour of the lights, because the light is just turning on with the colour of the signal that it's getting. Why you can't just set the colour of the light, I don't know. You have to go through this rigmarole, but there we go. Even black even works for some reason. Believe it or not, that's black. That's grey, slightly different black. White is obviously white. Letter does nothing, just, you know. Obviously there are other mods you can get. Let's do blue, shall we? Blue light just looks weird. There are mods you can get to add more colours and other lights that do have that have just a colour set to it, but you know, there we go. God knows why I did that. Just something to do with the basic signals, I suppose. And it's helpful. And if we take a whole bunch of stone out of here, we can watch it turn off. Could set another signal to say if it's less than, do red. No, because you can only have one condition on a light. You'd have to do some weird stuff to have one light do 2 colours. It's way beyond me. Right, stone is slowing down, as you can see. It wasn't a very big patch to begin with, and it's definitely slowing down. I've not been doing research this whole time. It's definitely slowing down. You're also finished. This is certainly over-explained, isn't it? Stone bricks over-explained. You can see it slowing down because there's no more stone getting to these ones over here. Well, that's fine. Eventually these will fill up. It's possible I should limit these. Do I really need 28,000 stone bricks? The answer is yes, folks. And in fact, I'm going to take some now. Right. And in fact, I'm going to take some of this stone as well to make more rails. You can never have too many rails. Oh my god, some of these don't have very much, do they? Oof. It's possible 28,000 stone bricks is too much because... No, I will run... those chests will fill up before that stone pile runs out. For my rails, I've just built a chest here rather than running stone on the bus because, as I say, there's not much... If we look in FNEI mod to see what goes... where stone goes... It's landfill, which we've done already, rail, stone bricks, and the stone furnaces, which we're not going to need very many of. So there's not a huge reason to run stone on the bus, at least in the early game. In your big base, in your final structured base, definitely, because stone turns into. Obviously, you want rail. But rail is also a component of purple science, which, that's a flipping headache, I tell you. And also you won't be able to make stone bricks on demand because they're in oil refineries, steel furnaces, concrete, which you need for various things, including the rocket silo itself, which lets you win the game, and electric furnaces, which you definitely want to be building in a hub mall thing. Right, I manually built some pump jacks, but I don't feel like it's enough. The beauty of oil is at least you can see here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots. So I actually need to build one more pump jack. And I'm missing 1 steel plate, if you can imagine that. Put 1 steel plate in my inventory so I can build the 10th pump jack that I need. Well, the 9th pump jack that I need. How many was it? I miscounted. I've got 9. And I needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, okay, alright, fine. I need another one. Give me 5 more steel, please. Thank you. Alright, now I've got 10 pump jacks. The problem I've got is that the whole area is covered in trees. So I could chop all the trees down, but there's really not much need to chop all the trees down because I could research grenades. No, I've already got grenades. Do I? Search. Grenade. Yeah, I've researched this. Grenade needs coal and iron plates. So why could I not find it? It's there. I'm an idiot. Let's quickly make some grenades, shall we? I will need coal for that, but it's probably a good idea to have some grenades on supply because once you can do it, it's definitely the best way of getting rid of trees. This is pure spaghetti solution, but you know, this is what we're here for at this point. So along... Why did I do that? I could just do it from here, because this is the iron... Yeah, this is the best idea. I'm so smart. So any excess iron from the steel will go into this factory to make grenades. 10 coal and 5 iron plates makes a grenade in 8 seconds. It's going to take a while. You could probably make more than one of these factories, but what is the grenade stack size? Here's something I don't know. Debug info in tooltips. Grenades. 100. Yeah, we go. 200. 100 grenades should be. Let's do 200. 200 grenades. That's going to take 200 times 8 seconds. Also, it's not crafting speed of 1, so it's going to take even longer than that. But it's such an infrequent thing that you'll have to do. Oh, tool belt expands your inventory. Nice. And I'll pick up these grenades here just to show you and put them on my toolbar because why not? There they are. When you pick the grenades, you get a radius of where you can throw the grenades to. If you click outside the radius, I believe nothing happens. I don't believe you throw it in that direction anyway. Yeah. Whereas if you click inside the radius, you throw the grenade, and all of the trees take some health damage, and then there we go. This is good for 2 reasons. 1, it's very quick. 2, you don't get a whole bunch of wood in your inventory that you can't do anything with, because if we go into FNEI and we put wood in and right click it, it makes shotguns, whoop-de-doo, small electric poles, who cares, wooden chests, no thank you, and the combat shotgun, why? Wood serves absolutely no purpose beyond the early game. Yes, it's burnable fuel. You don't want to be fueling anything with this. There are, I guess, some situations where you're in an emergency and a train is so far away from the base that you just have, and that it has no fuel, that you go, yeah, alright, fine. And you fuel a train with wood. But the trains don't even go that fast when they're being fueled by wood. There. I put it in this boiler just to get rid of it. So I'll do that off camera, you don't have to worry about that. See, we're already up to 8 now. And I'll just go up here and clear all of these trees out with grenades. Obviously, as we research more explosive damage as well, we should be able to get rid of the trees in 1 grenade, which will certainly free things up. Obviously, feel free to not do this. And then, of course, once we get robots, we can use the deconstruction planner to tell our robots to get rid of the trees, but you obviously then have the problem of the wood going into your inventory, and then you have to, you know, have a plan for that. Some people put all of the wood into a wooden chest and blow the wooden chest up. It's pretty funny. Some people build some really circuitous plan to burn the wood in a boiler that powers nothing, you know, like it just powers a whole bunch of lights. Because if you plan to get rid of it in boilers like this, 1, it creates pollution. 2, once you get different power supply methods, the boilers don't necessarily work because they don't have to work, especially once you start using solar. The game's clever enough to know to use the solar power during the day and not have your boilers active during the day. We could start making solar panels, and it's probably a good idea, but it's not as good of an idea until we can also make batteries, which then help us make accumulators, which store that solar power to be used later, aka the night time. So we use solar power during the day and the stored solar power during the night, which means I'm going to have to, before that episode, I'm going to have to do some research as to what the flipping difference between a watt and a joule is. A watt is a joule a second, or a joule is a watt. I don't know. I don't know. You'd think I'd know this by now. And obviously the day-night cycle in Factorio is not real time, if you hadn't noticed that. I believe it's 12 minutes? So there is some math that we can do to work out the amount of electricity that we potentially would need to use. I know the math for solar panels and accumulators, but I don't know the math for solar panels, accumulators, and the night time. So even if our factory was running at capacity, I mean, what's the peak usage been for the whole thing? Can't actually see that, can you? You can see you can see like peaks for individual things, but you can't actually see this graph stacked up. Interesting. Let's just plough on with the research, shall we? And as I say, we'll probably just call this an episode now. Next episode will be... this should already be set up. At least the trees should be gone. And I can show you how to build some trains, which will be fun. I might also get cliff explosives sorted off camera because it's kind of annoying. Oh no, I'm not going to get that sorted because that explosives needs sulfur. And sulfur you get from processing petroleum gas, and you can't process petroleum gas without oil, so I definitely won't be able to get rid of any of these cliffs before I've brought this in. But thankfully there are not that many cliffs here. I mean, bringing it in here is going to be a total nightmare. That's just sad face. But simple trains, a simple train to just bring some oil in, and we can get some oil processing started, possibly in this area. And the starter base will be almost finished then. Once we get blue science sorted, we can think about getting some robots, and that will automate a lot of the stuff. You know, like, I don't want to be putting all of these thousands and thousands of bricks down by hand. Like, ugh, no one wants to see that. Not even me, not even my own eyes wants to see that. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed and you want to stick around to see more Factorio Overexplained. We're getting to the real good stuff now. Trains, loading trains, unloading trains, fluid handling. And then the city blocks will be bus and belt management and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So we're really getting into the nitty-gritty, which, you know, is one of those phrases that maybe you shouldn't say, but I said it anyway, so there we go. If you want to let me know if you're having a good time with a like and a comment, that would be great, and if you do want to see more Factorio, then be sure to subscribe. I'm covering some next demos this week as well on the channel, if you wanted to check those out. I do some puzzle game content for, you know, general... the thinking person's YouTube channel this is, and that is extremely pretentious. Do I regret saying it? No, not in the slightest. Alright, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.